Getting started in recruiting volunteers for a political campaign can be an arduous and frustrating experience. And believe me, I feel your pain. The process usually starts around the time you've gone through your fundraising, you've talked to the local party, now you need to get out and knock on doors. You need people to help you with all kinds of crazy things. You need help at parades, you need help at the county fair, you need help hitting your 10,000 doors you probably need to hit. You gotta need help with all kinds of stuff. So having a core group, a core cadre of people to help you on the campaign is instrumental in your success. But sometimes candidates struggle with this, especially if you're an introvert like me. I'm just pretending to be an extrovert when I'm making these videos. I'm actually in a room all by myself where that's normally very quiet, where I work quietly and then read and drink my coffee and whatnot. So don't let the veneer here fool you of my extrovertedness. I feel your pain if you're an introvert and have trouble with this. Usually when I've got candidates that are kind of boring, actually, I know they're the kind of person that's going to have trouble with this because those social networks, that strength in the social network is a little bit more difficult for the introvert than the extrovert. The extrovert, however, always has his bros. She's always got her group of women that she's with for wine and books every Wednesday night. And so finding this group is sometimes easier for different kinds of people. So keep in mind that the way you've related to the world is going to have a tremendous effect on your ability to get volunteers to come out for you. And the strengths or weakness of your friendships are sometimes kind of a test on your campaign. So don't be too heartbroken or upset though if some people you consider close to you tell you they don't want to campaign. Right? If a friend called me and says, "Rich, can you help me?" If I can help them while I'm sitting in my comfortable chair, I'll do that, but I'm not going to go knock on doors. So I did have a candidate get me out to a tent last year to hand out flyers and talk about her, but I liked her a lot, and she was a first-time candidate. So getting volunteers is sometimes something that frustrates candidates so much, because you're like, I had this one guy who's like, "I've been going to church with this guy for 25 years. Our kids went to school together. He won't go out and walk with me to knock on doors." And I'm just like, I wanted to say I wouldn't be knocking on doors if you weren't paying me, but I guess that's not good customer service. So anyway, finding the volunteers that you need will first come out of your social group. No matter how political or not political your people are, you essentially have to try to recruit everybody you know to help you do something. You just need to match them up with something that you think they can do. I've got plenty of friends I can call and say, "Hey, I'm going to have a table at the local history fair. Can you sit there from 1 to 3 o'clock in case people stop by and want a flyer and know what a wonderful person I am?" Right? I know lots of people I can call to do that. People I can call and say, "Hey, I'm going to go knock on doors. I need your help." I think there's a couple guys I could call to do that. I think. I'm not sure. So this is you got to get people together, and what ends up happening is you want to find local activists. There's plenty of people who are involved with the local party or involved with other conservative organizations or clubs who may be very interested in going out on a weekend or two to knock on doors. A lot of times field organizers on political campaigns spend their entire time recruiting people for what we call on the right a Super Saturday. Super Saturday is basically them taking all the people they've accumulated over the last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, having scheduled them for a specific day and getting everybody to go out at once, and you make a party or a celebration out of it. And so Super Saturdays usually, I'd say, are once a month leading up to the campaign, and then in the last month of the campaign you have a Super Saturday about every weekend. What's great about these kinds of events, especially when you're going to be recruiting volunteers, is you can say, "Hey, in 2 weeks on Saturday, we're going to get together with about 30 volunteers. We're going to eat a ton of pizza, and then we're all going to go knock on doors for about 2 hours. Are you in? Can you help me? It's only 2 hours. That makes it a little bit easier to get volunteers. When it comes to college Republicans who are notoriously unreliable, every club will come out for you at least once on a Super Saturday. I think they get pulled in a lot of different directions, and really they have trouble maintaining their members in a lot of places, depending on where you are. But the college Republicans will show up once and you will never see them again. Okay, but there will be a couple who you'll see all the time, and that's really great. In fact, when I was working in a state, I don't mean to keep doing that to the audience, but I just don't want to get sued by naming the states where everybody's corrupt. Anyway, where the only way I was able to get the college Republicans out for a second and third time was the president of the college Republican group told me she wanted me to pay her, I think it was $20 per person that she brought out, right? So this was just a fundraising opportunity for her pocketbook. The second time we wanted to bring him out, we had to pay $30 per person. But we got them out, and so it was worth it. We had the money to spend, and we got these doors covered, and things went well on the campaign because we spent that money. So you're going to have that on your campaign. Things like that. That's not supposed to happen, by the way, but it got the job done. So college Republicans, it's good to go speak in front of them. They'll ask you a bunch of questions. You can video record it so that you can put it on your social media later. I don't care how big the group is. You're only going to have 2 that are going to help you regularly. So that's 2 volunteers is better than nothing. And if they'll come out with you once a week, make sure you buy them pizza, take good care of your volunteers. They need your help. Once you have the volunteers, keeping them, however, you want to keep them interested by continuing to make them a part of the group. They're people you and your field organizers want to stay in touch with and keep in contact with weekly in as much as you're able. Keeping them active in their local community, asking them to do things like put out yard signs is a good one. It's also really important. It's also really important that you match them up with things that they're willing and able to do. There's a tendency, and this is why I say not to give your volunteers to the party, right? The state field organizers or national field organizers that'll come in. They have a different focus. Someone who works for the state or national party, their goal is to knock on maybe 1,500 doors and get out 50 people for this canvassing event on Saturday. And so there's not any intimacy, there's not a relationship that's really built very well there. And so maybe they'll get people to knock on doors once, but they won't invite them to do other things for the campaign. It's either you knock on doors, you don't volunteer. Maybe they'll get some out, but then you'll never see them again. Whereas when you've recruited them on the campaign, volunteers that are joining the campaign are joining the campaign family. And that makes it a lot easier to keep them involved. And if you can only get them to knock on doors once, that's cool. They'll say, hey, I don't think canvassing's my thing. Maybe I can help you and hand out literature at the fair next week. That's cool, and that's what you really want. When it comes to dealing with groups, you're largely going to be able to go and speak in front of these groups, and you would have a volunteer, hopefully have a volunteer or someone on your staff with you at these events to ask people to sign up for your email updates, and there will be a checkbox if they want to volunteer. That's a great way to get volunteers. It's also a great way to build your email list for fundraising, for other ways to support, and that can be really beneficial. And so once you get a few volunteers, they'll slowly start to trickle in, and that's something that it's a snowball. It just rolls. It just gets bigger as time goes on if you're doing things correctly.